Hello and welcome to Tabletop Oddity. My name is Jay and today I want to talk about the meta for Star Wars Legion and why I think the Imperials are now edging it. There has been a true disturbance in the Force. Now, when I say the meta, it's a little bit hard to judge because we've not actually had many big tournaments. I feel like we've had like a bit of a dearth of tournaments. Like we've not really seen anything for the last couple of months in sizable amounts. I think just because it's cold and Christmas and that kind of thing. We are going to be having the Las Vegas Open in, I think, March. So it could even be Feb. I'm not even sure. But we're going to get some big tournaments this year for sure. And I just want to talk about what I think is going to happen in those. Jin and Krennic might change this for sure, but as of right now, let's talk about where we're at. So before I properly start, if you, at the end of the video, you like this video, then do consider hitting the like button. If you're not ready to subscribe, then do also please consider that, as it does really help. So first, I think I must tell you that I used to think that the Rebels were the more powerful force. Almost certainly, I think that was true, perhaps up until Boba Fett was released. And the reason that this was the case, in my opinion, was one man, Luke Skywalker. His power and his combinations were just really strong, and it basically allowed the Rebels to just expand the table, spread the table about, flank with Luke if they wanted, have a really strong middle piece with Luke if they wanted. They could send Luke off, have Leia in the back. There were so many combinations they could just do with Luke and spread the game out, and there was nothing really to stop him. Even if you had Vader, well, you could either ignore Vader because he's never going to catch Luke, or you can probably just Son of Skywalker in, shoot him a couple of times, Son of Skywalker in, depending on the blocks, kill Vader. I think I did that in a tournament. So there was nothing really to stop Luke. And then they had Han and Leia and that kind of thing, but it didn't really feel, to me, I mean, those lists now I feel are stronger than, well, not necessarily stronger than the Luke list, but the Han, Leia list and Chewie list and all that kind of stuff without Luke, I feel now are more viable because Luke has got a lot of counters. So not having Luke allows that list to act differently and do different things. But I don't feel like it's got quite the domination or the edge that the Luke list had, you know, initially. Now, why is that? Well, there's been several counters to Luke. If anything, I think the last 3 releases for the Imperials have all been counters. Well, I'll go through them. So initially, Boba Fett. Now, why, you might think, why is Boba Fett a counter to Luke? Whipcord. If you could play your Whipcord card, the command card, the same turn that Luke played Son of Skywalker, he's not, even the card before. So if you play it in 5, then it's after he's already activated. You could, in theory, stop him, and he wouldn't be able, even if he played it in turn 6, he wouldn't be able to do it because the immobilized tokens go after your next activation. So it wasn't necessarily like a hard, super hard counter. It was just it's not possible. It was still usable, and Boba's movement really, you know, he was going to get close to Luke if he wants to. It's not beyond the realms of possibility. So you can flank with Boba, put that whipcord on him, and just really slow him down. If Luke goes into a terrible place, you move forward whipcord. That was really the counter. It's not, you know, it's not 100% guaranteed. It still needs work. It's 1 turn, 1 or 2 turns perhaps, but it's, you know, it was a thing. And it sort of just got worse for Luke after that with Palpatine and the Royal Guard. So the Royal Guard, a lot of people are taking the Electoral Staff upgraded guy, and then essentially if there's no Pierce on the board, you kill him first, and if there is, you leave him on the table. But you take the Royal Guard, take that upgrade, and then what have you got? You've got a unit that's the same movement and can charge him, and it's just going to be type him. He's not going to kill much after you do that. After you move into him with them, he's not then going to kill lots. Yes, he can force push them out and maybe charge a different unit, but then they can just double move into him. Now, obviously, Luke has still got his jump 2 ability. Is it jump 2 or jump 1? He's still got his, I think it's jump 1. He's still got his jump ability, so technically you can outmaneuver them. But all you really needed to do is not necessarily threaten Luke. You either just put him on the flank, and if Luke's on the flank, you put your Royal Guard on the flank, and they're sort of going to counteract each other to some extent. Or if you're worried about Luke charging Vader, or Palpatine probably ends up being, you just put your Royal Guard near them, and then if it is Palpatine, you can triple move into them and that kind of stuff. But you can protect the units you want to protect from Luke. So the Royal Guard were a big counter to Luke. Not a big counter, but enough of a counter that it lowers Luke's value. And then Palpatine, it's the same release, but Palpatine really, I think, obviously if it's with the Royal Guard or with Bubba, he can give them an extra action and maybe get in place to either whipcord him or charge him if it's with the Royal Guard. But him himself is quite potent with his Immobilize token on his 1-pip. If he does a dice off against Son of Skywalker, he can essentially double move to him, immobilize him, probably kill him to be fair if you can see him. So, and it makes a risk if you're Luke to get anywhere near the center of your army. These Palp lists are generally staying in one place, or like they're grouping together, I should say, not necessarily staying in one place. And if Luke comes anywhere near them, Palp can pop out and blast him and immobilize him, and then everything can shoot him and he can die. And it's not like each one of these is a really good counter. It's just something that really lowers his value. Against Palp, you want to probably, if you're playing with Luke, you want to probably spread out the table, get on the flanks. Same with the Royal Guard, you want to make them so they have to counter Luke and then maybe move away from them because you can jump over walls and stuff like that. So it's not like it's impossible to play with Luke against Palp and all this kind of stuff, but it's lowered the value of Luke, which in turn I think has lowered the value of the Rebels, and I think the Imperials are now like slightly ahead. As I said, we've not had many tournaments. There was a poll on Facebook which was asking how many people would take Imperials over Rebels to a tournament, and the Imperials won, but very weak evidence. But especially when you consider that the Empire was already probably more popular at events. However, the last Weekend Warlords that I went to was actually 7-7 Imperials and Rebels, but I think the Imperials, it was an Imperial and Rebel 1-2, so fair enough. But yeah, I don't think there's necessarily been enough tournaments really to talk about this, and before this next tournament, I don't think we're going to have many. I don't think we're going to have Jin and the Pathfinders at the LVO. I'd have to double check the timings, and I think you'll find the Imperials edge to the top. In the online league, that online's obviously different from the physical play, but the online league I'm in our final round that I'm in literally the final, there's we're against 3 Imperials, we've got 1 Imperial and we've got 2 Rebel lists, and me and Ellis are running the Rebel list. But I think the Imperials just do everything a little bit better. You've got your snow troopers for your close quarters combat, you've got your anti Luke in your Royal Guard, Palps, that kind of thing. Bubba if you want him. You've got your fast movement with Bubba. If you've got recover the supplies, Bubba with Palp, you could triple move and double move, get out, pick it up and get out and all that kind of stuff. So I think the Imperials at this point have so much utility that they didn't have initially. When you have like Vader, your utility in your list is very low. It's you're very one-dimensional. You've got to slowly move up. Yeah, the Flamers were all right, but they weren't necessarily as good as they were then. Now, because now we've got frag grenades on them, recon intel, so we're getting them closer right off the start. It just feels like all the releases have slightly been beneficial for the Empire. Now, I don't necessarily, and I'm not just talking about coordinated fire, the new 3-pip card that's generic. That is possibly a bit of an edge to the Imperials as well, but not even a bit of an edge. It pretty much is an edge to the Imperials as well, but I think overall the Imperials have more utility, which is important. The more stuff you can face and be competent against, the better. And like the Scouts are better than the Commandos on average. I mean, we're rocking full units of Commandos now. I think that's possibly a good way of rocking them, even though when they first came out, I thought that was crazy. But now I think that's all right. Whereas for the Imperials, I still think the 2-man units are the better 2-man units. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I hope that this doesn't continue. I hope for perfect balance, obviously. I don't want one faction to be stronger than the other. Like in X-Wing, we've seen some nerfs to the faction I play, which was Empire, and I'm pretty happy about that. Like, that's fine. You want balanced teams. Is there anything that really counters this utility for the Rebels? Maybe. I mean, the Pathfinders are going to be interesting. Being able to deploy maybe on a central objective that or position in a really good way, that could be something good. I also think the Wookiees and Chewie have been really interesting. There's a lot of ways to get Pierce on the Rebels. Now, Pierce is a very interesting thing because you want that against units with better save who aren't immune to Pierce. So Palp saves in best in the game. You're not going to do too much there. Bubba, it's questionable because of impervious. But red dice troopers, if you can start piercing them, getting them off the board, you can really whittle them down. And Pierce is available with the Wookiee Bowcaster. Chewie's got it, I think. Han's got it. Leia's got it, I think. Or with the like range 2 shooting or range 3, depending on the Bowcaster. Pierce is a way that I think the Rebels can levy an advantage over the Imperials. But the problem with Pierce against that is, yeah, it might be good against Imperials, but then the minute you come against Rebels, Pierce sort of feels wasted on things that have got terrible saves. So it's very interesting. It's not quite it's not like that Rebels beat Imperials and Imperials beat other Imperials, or Imperials beat Rebels. It's very interesting. Certain list styles are probably good against certain other list styles, but all around, I personally think right now that the Empire is edging this. So let me know if you agree with me. Let me know if you don't agree with me. Let me know if you think something's going to change. I personally think the Death Troopers are really interesting. I can see some very good uses in that, like healing them back up because they're quite expensive, but they've got like range 3 black dice with a red save. That's the Pathfinders versus Death Troopers, and who's better? We'll have to wait and see. The tank versus the speeder. Interesting. I hope there is something that I haven't spotted that edges this back up to a 50-50 kind of level playing field. But if I was going to a tournament and I really, really wanted to win, I'd probably take like Palpatine something, or Veers and Bubba. Like, that's probably what I would take for the best. Let me know if you agree with me. It's going to be interesting. I'm happy that we're going to get quite a few like big tournaments. There hasn't been anything really announced in the UK and EU. I know Ellis is running his in London in September, but there's nothing really been official from FFG or Asmodee's organised play. We've seen some stuff in America for their events, but nothing really in the UK. And UK Game Expo, there was FFG Nationals, but no Legion again. I hope they don't do like what they did last time and just leave it to the last minute. I hope we actually get some big events, because we want to see data. We want to see who is actually rising to the top. What are the best lists consistently? And that's stuff that I'm interested in seeing and talking about. But that's my opinion right now. Let me know if you agree with me. Let me know if you don't agree with me. If you've liked the video, do like. If you're not already subscribed, then do subscribe. Thank you to my Patreons. Have a most beautiful day, and goodbye.